In today's video, I want to give a bit of a chat. I want to give a bit of a chat, have a bit of a chat with Year 12s, because I think Year 12s are one of the overlooked year groups, or have been, and you have very little information of what you should be doing right now. And almost in a way, Year 11 and Year 13 have had a lot more clarity of what's happening than you guys. Even though they've had their exams taken away from them, they at least know that that's happening. I don't mean to say that that is, you know, not stressful. It totally is, but I just think there's very little clarity for you guys that's been given. So I just wanted to have a bit of a blowout about that kind of stuff, because I'm seeing from you guys on Instagram and Reddit and stuff how frustrated you are at the moment, and sometimes it's coming out in funny memes as well, which is great, like this one. But there's still, you know, that undercurrent of what should you be doing right now and what is happening. So I just wanted to have a really frank conversation about where you're at right now, and a bit of advice from my side about what you should be doing in the future and at the moment. So here we go. If you like more stuff like this, feel free to subscribe to the channel, because I'm going to have at least weekly content coming out that helps you navigate this really difficult time. And to start things off, I just want to hold up my hands in the air and say I have been guilty of saying this old thing that has been passed around in the media a bit, is that everyone's in the same boat or everyone's in the same position, because that absolutely is not true. One of the things that coronavirus has put a spotlight on is the importance of educational inequality in society today, and the impact it has on people's lives. And this is always a thing, of course. People from more affluent families get more opportunities and generally a better education. And then people from poorer families tend to get less support and less opportunities and less resources from a get-go. And this is something that's definitely an issue within society, but this has been amplified and a massive spotlight has been put on it, because if you're from a poorer family, you have even less resources at your disposal, and perhaps, you know, you might not even have a computer, or you might not have your own workspace. And when that goes on for an extended period of time, which it is now, that does kind of add up incrementally as a disadvantage over time. And I know they've done a study recently, and they found that more affluent students were spending on average about 6 hours studying per day, whereas less affluent ones were spending about 4.5 a day, which doesn't seem necessarily that much, but that does add up over time, and will continue to do so as long as this period kind of extends. And I just wanted to air that you're not in the same boat as everyone else. There's certain people at a disadvantage or a lesser advantage, and that is the situation as it stands. But the real question is, what is going to be done about that? What is going to be put into place to make sure that inequality is dealt with as much as possible? And essentially, Ofqual have been incredibly silent on this front. There's been suggestion that they are going to do things, but what they're going to do has remained very unclear. And honestly, that must be so frustrating. And I am frustrated for you a little bit, actually, because I really do feel like by now something should have come out to give you a bit more clarity that you are going to have some kind of support, or the system will change to take into account that you're missing up to 1/3 of your potential learning time over these 2 years. Because I think that, I mean, I have no doubt there will be things put in place. It's just having that clarity of what those things will be would be extremely helpful at the moment. What we do have on this subject is high-level educational experts coming out and saying what they think should happen and perhaps will happen. So it has been suggested that the 2001 A-levels will be a shorter, condensed version of the course. So perhaps instead of 3 exams for your subjects, you might have 2 is one way that it's been suggested, or a certain chunk of the curriculum might be taken away. Don't know exactly what that looks like yet, but experts are coming out and saying this is something that needs to happen because you haven't actually been taught it. Another suggestion might be that there would be a similar kind of teacher assessed system, so it wouldn't be as heavily reliant on those final exams. But in terms of what that would look like is very unclear, and these are just suggestions coming from educational experts rather than anything coming from official Ofqual or the people in charge of education, because they have not said anything about this at the moment. It's also recently been announced that some of you will be going back June the 15th. Exactly what this looks like, it seems pretty unclear to me. I'm reading the newspaper and I'm talking to my teacher friends, and it seems like some people are going back to lessons, some people are just going in for one day to have a bit of a consultation, some people are just going back for 2 days a week, and then I think each school is taking it on a case-by-case basis. And to understand a bit more myself, I'd be really interested to know what your school are planning on doing. So please do comment below, and also comment below how you're feeling about it. Do you want to go back to school? I know you might be a bit nervous about going back to school, especially if you think there's going to be, not good enough social distancing, etc. And this is absolutely something that schools are talking about at the moment. How are they going to make sure that social distancing is kept? And also, if you do want to go back to school, how do you want to use that time? Are there certain people that you really want to talk to? Do you want to talk to particular teachers that you trust and want to get a bit of a feel about what the process is? Are there certain bits of knowledge that you really, really want to target? In which case I would write them down before you go in and plan what you're going to ask, so you can kind of just get a teacher and get those answers that you want really quickly. So those are some more things to think about. Do you want to go back to school? And if so, how are you going to use the time when you're there? So what should you be focusing on now? Well, in year 12 you have lots of different things to be focusing on, like your work, like your personal statements, like making your choices about your future and your university or your apprenticeships or jobs or whatever, as well as all the other things going on in your life aside of that. What should be your focus out of those things? Well, it might sound simple and basic, but number one is, of course, just continue to learn that content. I know it feels like you might be trudging through oil at times, and I've recently released a video that I hope can help you give a bit more of a system and work process to learning that information. So if you'd like to, please do click that link above and check out that video, but just keep smashing on with that content. I know that it must feel kind of, pretty exhausting and boring and tiring right now, but I think one thing that certainly is going to come out is the ones who are going to do well next year versus the ones that aren't going to do so well are the ones that use this time and grit through and continue to learn that content and work out how they can learn effectively at home. And just by the fact that you're watching this video is a massive sign that you're doing the right thing and thinking about how you're going to best learn during this time. You're already going to be in the top 1% of people who are proactively trying to improve their learning ability during this time. And then secondary to that, of course, you have personal statement writing, university choices, getting work experience, other bits and pieces. And I do 2 in-depth videos on how to write personal statements and how to build your personal statement skills. If you'd like to check it out above, please do. You can also start looking for work experience as well. There's plenty of online offerings at the moment. Of course, not as good as the real thing, but if you would like to have some, online experience with real companies that can look really good on your personal statement as well, I've put a link below. Click that and sign up. This charity called Speakers for Schools will link you up with someone and then get you some work experience as well. Alright, so that is a general, frank overview for you guys with year 12s. I hope that was useful. I kind of just was vibing on this one and just talking as I thought of things. If there's anything else you'd like information on or my thoughts on, please do comment below, and I'm very happy to answer to every single comment that comes through. And any future suggestions for videos, please do let me know as well. Until next time, see you later.